Digital Careers Now began through an Appalachian Regional Commission grant. And when we submitted the grant, we titled that grant Eastern Kentucky Cole County Transformation, because that's what we were doing. We were transforming the workforce and the economy in Eastern Kentucky. SOAR, Shaping Our Appalachian Region, they were one of the first partners at the table. We had Eastern Kentucky Concentrated Employment Program. We also had Southeast Kentucky Community and Technical College, Hazard Community and Technical College, and Big Sandy Community and Technical College.
This consortium of 5 partners work with employers who need to train employees who are highly skilled or need some kind of specialized, quick, fast training to be job ready. We have worked with several companies including ProSphere, Granada Insurance, VIP Kid, Pikeville Medical Center, Mountain Enterprise, and GDIT.
We are General Dynamics, an information technology company. We do have a presence in Eastern Kentucky. We have a large contact center in Barberville, Kentucky, and we saw an opportunity actually to expand operations in Eastern Kentucky. So currently we have about 100 employees in Hazard and Cumberland at the Digital Careers Now hub sites.
A wonderful perk that GDIT offers is that they do offer tuition assistance. So these employees who are working at the hubs, once they finish their shift, they can come to classes. So they are enrolling in IT certificates and business training. So we've been very excited about that.
The workforce that we've been able to employ in both Hazard and Cumberland has met or exceeded our expectations.
I've lived in Cumberland my whole life, so it's my home. I don't want to have to move away to find work. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, so when I first was hired on, they worked with me with my start date. I was going to be working in Barberville, but the Cumberland hub opened up with Digital Careers Now, so that allowed me to transfer to the Cumberland hub, which helped me take care of my mom, because I had taken over the household responsibilities and was helping take care of her, so that was just easier on us rather than driving an hour and a half to Barberville. This job, I had never saw myself doing anything like this before. I initially started out being very shy. I was very nervous taking my phone calls. Now, it's just like second nature to me.
These jobs are not minimum wage jobs. They're above average pay for this area.
It's really allowed people to look at a new type of career, and perhaps they'd been working in another industry, and perhaps they were working in a job where they really weren't making a living wage. But through Digital Careers Now and through GDIT, they're now able to embark on a new career and a new journey in their lives.
That's what attracted me to this job, was the income, because it's good pay for this area.
The partnership with GDIT makes it possible for those living in remote areas to have these wonderful jobs with these great companies and have the option of, if they prefer to stay in the hub and work, or if they prefer to go home, they can. It not only helps the individual, it of course helps the company, but it helps the overall economic benefit to the community. They shop here, they have lunch here, and they spend their money here. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Digital Careers Now really tried to emulate the Teleworks USA model. And we were looking at jobs that people could do. They could work for any employer across the nation, but they would be working for that employer here in the mountains in Eastern Kentucky. Digital Careers Now and Teleworks USA have proven that Eastern Kentucky can not only compete in the digital economy, but thrive in the digital economy.
Please welcome Kentucky Communications Network Authority Interim Executive Director, Dick Decker.
Good morning. I would also like to thank Congressman Rogers, Governor Bevin, and Jared Arnett for having me here today. After I give you all some information regarding KentuckyWired, I'm going to invite up a couple people, and they'll give you all some information about the status of our network right now. We like to say that KentuckyWired is the internet system for the 21st century. It closes the digital divide between the urban and rural communities, and in the state of Kentucky, that's incredibly important. We believe KentuckyWired is going to bring increased economic opportunities to rural Kentucky. Telework has become an integral part of corporations by allowing the local internet service providers to access the open network. Families will have the opportunity to compete for these jobs. When local communities try to convince businesses to locate in their communities, the access to broadband internet is vitally important to get those corporations to come into your communities. We also see KentuckyWired to be an integral part of healthcare in Kentucky. It's going to bring in telehealth. I've been on the telehealth board through the Health Family Services. It is a large, very large opportunity right now that they're trying to take advantage of to make sure that we get the same opportunities in rural Kentucky as they have in eastern Kentucky. Although schools have internet access now, many times it is too slow or they do not have the bandwidth for the dynamic classes that are being offered in school systems. With KentuckyWired, we'll have ample bandwidth at the school systems. And not only at the schools, it's important for children to be able to have broadband at their homes. After they leave the schools, they have to go home and do this homework. Everything is now on computers, and they need to have access to that as they're at their homes to be able to finish up the work that they need to be done. Little about KentuckyWired. KentuckyWired is in all 120 counties. We are going to make broadband available on an open network, meaning that your local internet service providers can come in and join KentuckyWired and start to build out to your homes. What we're going to bring to your communities is a broadband service that's 10 to 20 times faster than anything you have currently at your locations. So as you can see, it's very important to get this into your communities and get the last mile built. KentuckyWired is a middle mile. This was built for state entities such as Health and Family Services, our courts, our universities are partnering with us. So we are a last mile provider just to the state locations. We are not a last mile. What we're asking for you all as community leaders here is for you all to get in touch with your local internet service providers and push them to be partners with KentuckyWired to where we can bring our services into your communities. We need partners in this. We need your all's help. We need your local internet service providers to join us and bring that to you. So currently we already have most likely in your county clerk or in every county clerk office, we'll be running our fiber into those locations. It is a very easy transition for your local city and county governments, if you're a leader here, for us to hook you onto our network. It's going to increase your productivity. Your costs are not going to go up. We're here to help you all. It's a very easy transition. And if you're in an ARC County Center for Rural Development and Congressman Rogers, they have some money opportunities available for you to join our network. We can get you equipment into your locations, drive those costs down to help you all get those to you immediately and get that into your areas. I'll just once again say that it is very important for you all to talk to your local internet service providers, your local business leaders, have them contact us, get in touch with us, and help us bring the broadband to your areas. If any of you are in city and county government or even local internet service providers, please you can contact me. I'm at 502-782-9549, or you can reach us at KentuckyWired.ky.gov. If you'll reach out to us, we'll come and see you. we're planning on going around the state, have a traveling roadshow to talk to local communities and see what you all need from us to get the local internet, your local internet service providers hooked into this. If you'll stop by our booth, we have additional information that's available for you, and it'll have contact information to help you all get in touch with us and show you what we're doing throughout the state. So with that being said, I would like to invite up Governor Bevin and Congressman Rogers to come and give an announcement regarding KentuckyWired.
Wow, this has been, I think, the best summit we've had in all the years we've been doing this. What you're doing in your communities is innovative, it's inspiring, and I know many of you are making progress despite having fewer resources perhaps to work with. We've been reminded in recent weeks of the challenges that we face in eastern Kentucky. The black jewel miners and the great boldness that they've shown on the train tracks in Harlan County, standing strong for the paychecks and benefits they rightfully earned. It reminds me a little bit of paraphrasing Apostle Paul's words to the Corinthians. We may be pressed, but we're not crushed. We may be persecuted, we're not abandoned. The coal industry may have been struck down, but we're not destroyed. We're blessed in eastern Kentucky, and we're soaring beyond our challenges with great perseverance and determination, and we will overcome. As you may have noticed, the last half of this morning's session has been dedicated to the number one issue that you believed could transform our region when we kicked off SOAR 4 years ago. The result across every action team was overwhelmingly the same. We need broadband in the mountains of eastern Kentucky. So we set out on a daunting journey that resulted in KentuckyWired, a statewide multi-million-dollar public-private works project that would install more than 3,000 miles of fiber optic cable across the Commonwealth. And today, we have great news. The network is nigh unto being complete. The trunk line was set in place from Cincinnati to Somerset in July, Cincinnati being the place where we hook up to the world. The process has started to connect with every county in southern and eastern Kentucky. Kentucky will go from being almost dead last in connectivity to number one in the nation. Now we've got to turn our focus to that last mile. We've run the trunk line, the interstate highway, and we've built an exit, but now you've got to find a way to connect that exit up with your home or your business or your hospital or your school or whatever. That'll take broadband from the KentuckyWired hotspots and extend them out to your homes and your businesses. If you haven't kept up with the project, you're really missing the boat. This is the new way to do business. This is the new way to manufacture. And it will give us the chance to do the work we formerly had to go to Detroit City to find a job. we're going to bring those jobs here. And you'll be able to make that same living here instead of Detroit City. Now, I love Detroit. But I like Eastern Kentucky better. The race to connect to that network is underway, and the leaders of the pack have already rounded the first corner. We have multiple counties in the region that have developed broadband committees. Others are conducting feasibility studies. Some individually and some counties are working together to apply in a regional effort. Some communities are working with the Center for Rural Development at Somerset, USDA, ARC, utilizing other resources to prepare to be the first community to connect. Those that already have gigabyte broadband service through their local providers like Jackson, Owsley, Lawrence, Morgan counties are demonstrating a small glimpse of the opportunities that we can create through programs like Teleworks and General Dynamics, allowing our people to work from home if they're unable to travel for a job. Since 2015, more than 2,400 Eastern Kentuckians have been hired by Telework and General Dynamics, including roughly 300 this year alone. It's here, folks. As many of you know, one of Southern and Eastern Kentucky's largest technology-based employers is Accenture. The company employs more than 2,200 people in 4 of our counties, and today they have a surprise announcement that wouldn't be possible without the addition of broadband connectivity in our region. Help me welcome Accenture's president, Chris Deaton, to the SOAR stage.
Thank you, Congressman Rogers. Indeed, I have some exciting news to share with this group. Let me first share with you who Accenture is and what we do. Accenture is headquartered in London, Kentucky, and Laurel County, with offices throughout southeastern Kentucky, including Williamsburg and Whitley County, Monticello and Wayne County, and Annville in Jackson County. With over 2,000 and growing hardworking Kentucky employees, Accenture provides mission-critical call center services to federal government agencies such as TSA, the Department of Education Federal Student Aid, the Department of Transportation, and others, as well as private sector insurance companies. Started in 2003 with only 3 people, Accenture has steadily grown and expanded. As we have expanded our company, one of the areas we consistently see need is access to high-speed telecommunication services, not only to our offices, but to homes. Accenture has expanded our work-at-home customer service agent model, and when people have high-speed internet to their home, it creates opportunities for all. I want to thank Congressman Rogers, Governor Bevin, and the many others who have had the vision and the perseverance to make this a reality for Kentuckians. It will undoubtedly be a game changer for industries like ours by allowing an expanded pool of labor and subsequent job creation. One of Accenture's largest accounts is Humana. Accenture and Humana are 2 Kentucky-based companies working collectively to serve Humana members within the communities where they live and work. Humana currently provides health care coverage in Kentucky to over 900,000 members across employer plans, Medicare Advantage, TRICARE, and Medicaid. Both companies are proud of the opportunity to expand the reach of Humana's healthcare services, supporting our national models with investments in Kentucky's talent and economy. As a result of this relationship with Humana, I am pleased to announce that Humana has recently awarded Centure a contract which will allow us to hire more than 250 call center agents in London and in Jackson County. In addition, Centure has secured additional contracts which will allow us to hire an additional 150 agents, and all of these will be hired before the end of this year. This means that due to the extraordinary work of East Kentuckians, more than 400 families, new families, will have jobs, with many of these being able to now work from home. Centure has been hugely blessed, and we are grateful and excited to be able to do our part in creating a future for Kentuckians. Thank you.
Chris, thank you very much. What a great outfit that is, based in London, Kentucky. And all of their employees are from SOAR country. Before I move on further, I want to take just a moment to ask one in the audience to stand and take a bow. If there's one person that has been the most vocal about pushing KentuckyWired, it's a gentleman by the name of Jim Host. Host, would you stand for us, please? He has kept on this KentuckyWired project from day one, and he has kept us all moving in the right direction, kicking us in the rump and patting us on the back and all the other things. So thank you, Jim, for being a real soldier for SOAR. You're great. Now, on to the big announcement that you've all been waiting for many years now. One of the first and best and biggest projects that SOAR started out to do. We're about to make monumental history in Kentucky's 5th Congressional District. This is news, this is big time, it's unparalleled anywhere in the country, and you did it. And greater things are on the way. Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky is one step closer to becoming a national leader in broadband connectivity. We're about to eliminate the days of being underserved and last in the nation. You're going to go from last to first overnight, today, in this place, in just a moment. Governor Bevin and I are thrilled to announce that KentuckyWired's 2 major network rings covering southern and eastern Kentucky are now complete. In just a few minutes, we're going to turn on this broadband network together, and when we do that, it's game on. There's no more time to waste. It's time to activate your broadband committees, compile your funding resources, and put your plans into action so your county can begin taking advantage of this network as soon as possible. Governor Bevin, you led a strong contingency of state legislators to rescue this project when others said it wasn't worth completing. And I think you should have the final word before we mark this historic milestone in eastern Kentucky. Governor, the stage is yours, and thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Do you feel it? Do you feel the energy? Can you sense and feel and taste and smell the hope that is washing over this community, over this region of our state? I hope you can. I tell you what, if you weren't moved by the words, if you weren't inspired by the words of our keynote speaker, Major Dan, you don't have a pulse. I'm telling you, that was outstanding, really and truly. And I tell you what, I mean, his words about getting out ahead of yourselves, but being willing to have the faith and the conviction to follow through is exactly the embodiment of what has happened with people like Jim Host and with people like Hal Rogers. People who had a vision, had an idea of something that was possible. And there are so many negative haters, so many people who poo-poo things and say, this can't happen, it's not possible. Nonsense. Even now, even this week, reports coming out about all the things that went wrong early on. True enough, fair enough. Some of these things were in fact the case. But I'll tell you what, we've never quit, we've never stopped, we've never failed to believe or appreciate the value that will come from getting this right. And while pieces may have been broken out of the gate, we've put these pieces back together. I want to give a tremendous shout out to another man without whom this would not have happened. Scott Brinkman. I don't even know if Scott is here. Where is Scott? There's Scott. This man right here, truly, this project would not have happened without Scott Brinkman. Every time we got off track or off the rails, he got back behind the wheel and put this thing back on track. I'm so grateful to you. So grateful to the visionaries. It takes vision, but it also takes action, because if you simply have the vision and no action, you're just dreaming. And we've done more than that, and it is exciting what's about to happen. I want to say one final thing before we push these two buttons and see what happens, but we're going to need your help to do a countdown. There was a guy by the name of Winston Churchill. You've probably heard of him, pretty famous fellow at the end of World War II. Prime Minister of England, a guy who really did so much to save the European continent in many respects, certainly England as the forefront of what was happening in that region of the world. He was given many different titles. One of them was the Lion of England. And it's interesting, I often think of Hal Rogers in many respects as the Lion of Eastern Kentucky. But it's interesting, I mean, it's the truth, it really is. A guy who's been bold and been visionary and taken point, whether it's on the opioid crisis or the broadband initiative, a guy who's been out there when others were quick to mock or to hang back and wait for failure. But he continued to surge forward. But the one thing that's interesting is that while he was not a humble man, Winston Churchill, he did push back a bit on the moniker of being the Lion of England. And he said, listen, I'm not the lion. He said, the people of England are the lion. But history has called upon me to deliver the roar. And I'll tell you what, you are the Lion of Kentucky. Those of you that are gathered here, those of you under this roof, the people of this community, the people of this region, of Eastern Kentucky, Kentuckians as a whole, we are the Lions of Kentucky. But history has called upon certain people in certain moments to deliver the roar. And to Jim and to Hal and to Scott and others who have delivered the roar, I say thank you. But to each and every one of you that is here, I would challenge you, including those of you that are in the highest row up there in section 203. There's a lot of young people that are here. I'm telling you, history will tap on every shoulder at some point in time. I was struck by Major Dan talking about a hand on his shoulder. Whether it's a physical hand, a tap, a physical, literal, history will knock on your door. It will tap you on the shoulder at some point in time. The question is, will you be ready? Will you be ready, and will you be bold enough to get out ahead of your own comfort zone? Because this is the type of place where the words that have been shared from this stage are going to inspire somebody to do something great. There are future congressmen, there are future governors, there are future fighter pilots that are in this room perhaps, that are going to go boldly in some direction or another, that are going to do things for the next generations to come. The question is, will you be ready? Will you be ready despite the failures? Will you be ready despite the naysayers? Will you be ready despite the headwinds to take off and soar? That is the question. I hope the answer will be yes. It does give me great honor to say that despite all the headwinds, despite all the opposition, we're going to need your help to count down to announce that the progress that has been made in the last 3, 5, 6, 10, 12 months has been unbelievable. and I want you to see a visual representation of it in a moment. If we could start a countdown, and Congressman, come with me, and if you all can help us sound off here.